If you have a loved one that needs in-home care, you know how difficult it is to find affordable care, especially when there's a caregiver shortage. Our guests today have found a way to connect families with affordable care from pre-health college students. So far, they've served 800 families across the Triangle and expanding daily. Meet Neal, Shah, and Gavry, Eshet, co-founders of CareYaya. To both of you, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us, Bill.
Well, let's first find out a little bit about you. Who wants to go first? How about you, Neal? What's your background?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the question. You know, believe it or not, 5 years ago, I was sitting in New York City running a $250 million hedge fund, and now here running a care company. And you know, to kind of rewind and give the full picture, you know, grew up in North Carolina. I was a child prodigy. Went to UNC Chapel Hill on a full scholarship. Then later got an Ivy League degree and found my way onto Wall Street. You know, I was very interested in business, healthcare, investing. Became a partner at a multi-billion-dollar private equity fund by my late 20s. And then I started my own investment fund. You know, then at the peak of my career, after I'd gotten my fund from 10 million to 250 million, you know, really got punched in the face with caregiving, personally. My wife became severely ill, went through years of cancer treatment, pneumonia, at one point hospitalization in the ICU. That was like literally rock bottom. She was in a medical coma. And I basically just really got awoken to how much suffering there is in the world, how many people are really going without care. Saw tons of people in ICU that had no one visiting them in many final weeks of life. You know, taking my wife to chemo, I saw how many people were going to chemo by themselves, didn't have a support system to help them. And I basically just realized I was using my brains for just pursuing money, and I became obsessed with why don't I use my brains to help all these people that are suffering. So that was kind of really the founding story of CareYaya.
Wow, that's amazing. Your whole life's priorities changed.
Yeah, completely. And you know, I'm really glad to have discovered this. You know, I wouldn't wish that pain on anyone, but you know, I'm glad to make meaning out of a difficult experience.
That's amazing, because once we get into this, wait till you hear. It's really an interesting concept. How about you? What's your background?
Yeah, so my background is in software engineering primarily, and user experience design. And I graduated from UNC Chapel Hill. And that's where I actually met Neal. So Neal had approached the computer science department of UNC and partnered with a course where you build software for a community partner. And he pitched to the class. I thought his idea was the best idea I've ever heard. And I also thought it was a really cool way to make an impact on the world. And so I joined forces with him and basically started building what is today the CareYaya platform.
You got to tell me how you came up with the concept of putting healthcare students together with the elderly who need the care.
Yeah, great question, Bill. You know, so there's, like you said, there's structural caregiver shortages in society. So we were thinking, how can we expand the care workforce and bring new people into it? And through a lot of survey work we did, we realized initially at UNC Nursing School, but then across all these universities, people who want to go into the healthcare field do not have a convenient way to get paid healthcare experience. The traditional care industry demands people work fixed hours, 30 to 40 hours a week plus assigned to a family. And as you can imagine, students don't have that flexibility. So believe it or not, we found at, let's say, back to UNC School of Nursing, many of the students were doing DoorDash, food delivery on the side because it's flexible around their schedules. Many of them were driving Uber. We couldn't believe that all of these people who want to go into caring careers are doing food delivery or driving to make side income. So this is where, you know, the power of technology comes in. If we could create a gig economy platform and allow these students convenient, flexible opportunities around their schedules, this would be the best care workforce you ever heard of, because they're primarily driven by non-monetary incentives. You know, they want to get the experience, they want to help people, and they're upwardly mobile. They want to go into a future healthcare career as a doctor, nurse, physician assistant, physical therapist. So, you know, that was kind of like the insight. You know.
I think most people know the answer to this. How big is the need? Tremendously big, right?
Yeah, so 1.3 million people in North Carolina are caregiving for an elderly parent, a spouse with serious illness, or a child with special needs. The current direct care workforce is 120,000. I mean, it is a disaster. 90% of families cannot afford current care options. Traditional care is run through agencies locally that charge pretty high markups. So here we are in the Raleigh area. Care costs over $30 an hour. You have to sign a contract, minimum 20 hours a week, and then they'll serve you. So 90% of families are completely on their own. We thought that there was a very large addressable market of over 1 million North Carolinians who don't have care options that we could serve, you know, through a low-cost technology platform, and then expand the care workforce to meet that need.
Why don't you explain, if you would, Gavry, about the technology involved here? How does this all play together?
Yeah, so one thing that is present in the current industry is it's not tech-based almost at all. And so that's one thing that we wanted to change a lot, is bring some of the simple additions and innovations that online marketplaces and platforms have brought to the world. Something as simple as reviews and ratings of the students and of the families, so two-sided ratings, really helps ensure quality of the platform. And that's something that isn't a standard right now, and we think it should be. And then additionally, on-time percentages of student caregivers can be greatly improved by using reminder notifications to their phone. They all have smartphones, and we can send them notifications on a scheduled basis to make sure that they are at the home helping and caring when they need to be.
Believe it or not, actually, the pre-healthcare focused college students, think about our doctors and nurses of tomorrow. These students are very focused on getting into graduate school and getting into a healthcare career. So why they make great caregivers is that their primary motivation in doing this is non-monetary. So that's best of all, that the rates on CareYaya are $15 an hour. The students are more than happy to provide care at those rates. Private sector care rates, even without an agency and just direct care, are over $20 an hour. So one is non-monetary reason for doing care. Two is the care experiences are required many times for graduate programs. So let's take a nowadays physician assistant. If you want to become a physician assistant, you go through undergraduate school, then you have to apply to graduate school. The graduate schools are mandating sometimes 1,500, 2,000 care hours. Some students tell us to be competitive, you have to have 3,000 to 5,000 care hours. Now imagine how difficult that's going to be to get. There's almost no way of getting that during your college. So most students are taking 1, 2, or 3 years off after college to go work in the care field and get 3,000 care hours so they can have a competitive application to physician assistant school. We find the students are very tech savvy, and we're working on a lot of technology projects to make care better, improve health outcomes. And one project we've been working on is virtual reality therapy for people with dementia.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's your thing.
Yeah, and I mean, the reason we originally thought of it was if you think about an elderly population, then they have the most to gain from virtual reality. Obviously, from our realities, it's easy to say that why wouldn't you just go outside and experience nature? But a lot of elderly people don't have that opportunity anymore. And so giving them novel experiences or reminiscent experiences of their past can activate centers of the brain that haven't been active in a long time. Aside from that, we also have a project actually to assess fall risk in elders.
We have developed a technology project that the college student caregiver, through their cell phone camera, can come into the home and simply take a video of you sitting and then standing and sitting again, and through our computer vision algorithm, give you a 93% accurate risk assessment of how likely are you to fall. This is extremely helpful for families because they can then determine a care plan for mom or dad. Falls are one of the leading causes of ER visits and hospitalizations for the elder population. And we're starting to talk with large healthcare systems around the area about working on the research with us because the healthcare systems realize this falls can be prevented and it's better for everyone. It's better for health system utilization, better for insurance. So these are simple tech projects that we can bring into the home through this amazing college student caregiver population.
How do people get a hold of you? How can we book a caregiver?
You can go on CareYaya.org, you can place your request, and then you'll be algorithmically matched to great students in healthcare in your area.
That's wonderful. To both of you. I mean, wow. It's an amazing story, it really is, and gosh, is it needed. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Really
Bill.
appreciate it. Thank you for being here with us as well. We hope you've enjoyed watching, and if you have any questions or you'd like to know more, visit our websites at RaleighCW.com and myrdctv.com. I'm Bill LeMay, and thank you for watching Community Matters, and we'll see you next week.